Hi everyone, welcome back. This project is more of a craft project, and it is more of a kind of quick wall art if you're looking to decorate some space in your room that we're going to do using canvas and some masking tape. Now what you do is find the edge of your masking tape and take it, and what I'm going to make is a star. But you can a 5-point star, but you can do a starburst, you can do squares, you can do a heart in the center. You can really use the masking tape to do whatever you want. But what you basically do is start by adding tape to your canvas, and don't worry about being perfectly centered. Sometimes it's nice to be off-centered, unless of course you are of the person that needs to see it completely perfect down the middle. But you start by adding masking tape all around to your edges like so. And you make sure they're tucked in nicely, the edges as well, like this. And then you continue with the other one like so to the other corner of your canvas, or as best to the corner as you can get it so that it doesn't buckle, because you don't want too much buckling happening in your tape. Like so. And now, so that you're not watching me fumble constantly with the tape, I've actually pre-made one. So it's here, and this is what mine looked like, the 5-point star, and as you can see. And so we're going to set it down, and I already have my paints ready too, but I'm going to tell you which colors I used, because I think that that's important for you to know as well. And of course you can use whatever colors you want that connect with your color scheme, but I've used yellow ochre, that's this color here, phthalo blue, my favorite blue, which I use in almost everything, right here, dioxazine purple, or dioxazine, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but it's a lovely shade of purple here, and alizarin crimson, which is a pinkish red, and a little bit of white in case I want to take down the intensity of some colors is there as well. And I have a number 8 flat brush, which works quite nicely, but you could probably use a round brush as well that's going to go into each and every section here, some water and some paper towel. So what you start doing is pick a color that you'd like to start with, and I'm going to pick the alizarin crimson. And I'm going to set it right here in the center of my painting. And now the other thing is that this is going to be showing it as a 1-coat project, but you will likely have to do 2 coats in every section when it dries. So you just keep going and you keep painting, and be generous with the paint. Always be nice and generous as you go along and fill in the spaces. And you can do numerous of these, and you can do, my recommendation is if you're going to do more than one, not to do them all as stars, but you can also set up the masking tape to start from the center and go out, or from the edges and do in squares, or irregular heart is kind of neat too, I think would be pretty, but not everybody's really into hearts, so I would leave that entirely up to whoever is picking their project, of course. Nice and smooth, painted across. Try not to leave too many brush marks. There we go. That's quite right there. I'm going to rinse out my brush. Of course, I'm running out of paper towel, but I have enough for this project. And then you kind of look at it and think, what's next? What's another good spot? And I like to start with the center personally, and then with the larger spaces, and then move away and into the smaller spaces personally. And I think I'd like to see this purple, which is a beautiful rich purple, in this big space here. Just lay it on there generously, just like so. And now you can also, and I'm not going to do it just for time's sake, but, and because it's going to get messy for me, but I would also recommend doing, after you take the tape off, around these edges, the color that it ends with, so that you have a frame already pre-done, and then you don't have to actually purchase a frame for it and get it framed, unless you want to, of course. But a nice way to avoid framing is to just paint out the edges, which is what I do with a lot of my my pieces, and then let whoever is purchasing them or that I'm gifting them to deal with buying a frame. So there we go, laying out the purple. It's a beautiful rich purple. I hope it's not going to be too dark, but if it is on the second coat, I can always go over it with a little bit of white, mix it in so that the white shows through and shows some of the purple a little more with depth, as opposed to just one solid color. So painting, and these are acrylic paints, by the way, not oil paints. I tend to do most of my work with acrylic paints because they dry faster, and I just like the way they blend and the intensity of it, and they don't tend to get muddy the way oil paints will get muddy if they don't dry enough, and then you have to deal with over mixing. So I have grown accustomed to using acrylics, and all my classes will be done with acrylic paintings. But that's not to say that whatever I teach, of course, cannot be done with oil paints as well. So there's the purple. It looks a little too dark to me even now before the paint is dry. So I think what I'm going to do is just mix in a bit of white into my purple, as you can see, and add a little bit of water to it so that it spreads better. Just a tiny bit of water. And there we go. I like that better. It doesn't look quite as black. And there you can see the difference in how the paint spreads and how it looks with the purple as you're blending it in with the white. But that's exactly what I wanted to see. There we go. See? Little bit of trial and error sometimes when you're painting. The nice thing about this kind of project is that you really can't make a mistake. You just have to set the tape up so that it's flat and smooth, and then you keep adding the color to it. This is also a great project to do at with a daycare class, a school, at a senior's home. I know a lot of people also work as artists that volunteer their time with the seniors' homes and do work there. But there, I think I like that much better. I can see some of the purple blending in and through. So again, I'm going to wash out my brush into my, what is getting to be quite murky water. But that's okay, and then you grab your paper towel, squeeze out the paint, and look at the lovely purple on my brush now, but it's all gone. It's not there. It's just staining the white bristles. And so the next large area that I see is this one. And I believe that this large area I would like to see done in, I don't know. I'm thinking this blue color. But this is quite a dark, rich blue, so I'm going to mix it in with some white as well, like that, but I'm going to start it that way. There we go. That's it. Lovely blue. And I'm going to add it in here. And then if you get going and you think you'd like to add more colors, by all means, you can color mix. The yellow ochre and the blue together will make a lovely green color. If that was something that that you wanted to do, you can definitely work with it, because these are pretty close to being primary colors anyhow. And then you can keep adding to it, but we're going to start with these for now and see how it goes. And there's the blue, lovely shade of light blue. Almost the same color as the masking tape, but not quite. I'm ambidextrous, by the way. As you can see, I'm switching hands. So, but I'm going to stick with my left so you can actually see what I'm doing. But I've been very blessed to be an ambidextrous person, so I can go switch from right to left if I have to when I'm doing my paint technique, so that people can see at the appropriate angles of how I'm working. There we go, and we're going to leave the sides for now, but eventually My recommendation again is to paint it all out in the shade of blue that is up here as it frames along. I think that is a great way to finish the piece off, like I mentioned before. So that's our blue. It's done, and that went out quite quickly. And these paints are actually quite thick, and they're giving a nice coverage on the first coat. The brands I tend to use are Golden acrylics, which I don't have any out here for this. The Liquitex Heavy Body are lovely. These Groombakers are student quality paints, but for our purposes and for what we're doing, they are actually quite lovely shades, and you get to learn which ones you like and which ones you don't, and as you start purchasing, just to get the right shade that feels good with the work you're trying to do. And it's trial and error basically is what it is. And I do buy most of my art supplies from Michaels as well. The canvas, the paints, they do have everything. I find it's one-stop shopping, which I love. The next space I think I'm going to work on, now it's anybody's game, but I'm going to come across here because I feel like all the color is going that way, that I'd like to see this side filled in. And of course I'm going to use the yellow ochre because I haven't used it yet. And I'm going to just put it in here. Right there. It's a little more browny. And again, I think I might mix it with the white just to soften it up a bit. I did it directly on the canvas. Yes, I like that much better. Less brown, more yellow this way with the white. I'll do that again over here, but I'll mix it properly on my plate. There we go. And then that way the blue and the purple don't get mixed up in it. That's it. Much nicer. White is definitely your friend as an artist. I go through tubes and tubes and tubes of white paint. Very much. So I often buy the smaller tubes in the regular paint colors, but tend to see, there's my white, buy the much larger tubes in the white. And black I use very little. Usually I just use black to paint around the edges of my canvases and just some areas of painting that need a really, really dark area, or if I'm doing an animal that's black, I will add in some black, but very little black goes a long way, so always buy a small tube of black as well. There we go. That looks great. And I think I'm going to add some of that blue over here now. So I'll pull it out with the white. I'll add it back into here. Add a little more here. Just like that. And if it's a different shade of blue and it's not exactly the same, don't worry, that adds a nice value to it, and you don't want it to be identical, because what's going to connect this entire painting together is when you take off the masking tape and see the beautiful star you've created. There we go. Almost done. I'm a little picky with how it all blends together, but there we go. That's perfect. And I think I may not use any more of the crimson, that I may just leave it in the center and work with the rest of the colors. I'm also tempted to mix in a green, to tell you the truth, just to add some more variety. But first, I think I'm going to add a little more purple to this. Oops, I just dripped some water on here. I'll have to fix that up. Pardon me. There we go. We don't want to have white showing through on the canvas like that. So be very careful when you mix your brush in the water to not drip onto your canvas. There we are. Alrighty, let's grab some more purple. Mix it in with a bit more of the white, which I might have to squeeze out more of. There we go. And now we have a different shade of purple, which I do like to see in my work. All the different colors that we can create just by using a primary palette and some white so we can alter the value. And if you are interested in learning more about color mixing, the other free video on my website available to watch is a color mixing video, so I do invite you to have a look at that as well. And I know that a lot of people already know this, but I did take an art class with two lovely ladies, Lynn and Carla, and it's Lynn Whipple and Carla Sondheim, and they did do a color mixing lesson as well in their class. It was called Year of the Spark, if anyone's interested. And I was surprised at how many people were taking the art class and didn't actually know how to mix colors. So it is a wonderful lesson and exercise, and it's quite forgiving, and it's fun to do on a canvas, on a piece of paper, on a palette, even on a paper plate, to see how the color mix is all worked together. But I'm quite liking that shade of purple there, so I'm going to leave it. And now we're going to cross the way and add some more yellow ochre and mix it again with a bit of white. And I think I do need more white. There we go, just into this little area here. And the nice thing about the tape is you can go right over it and know when it comes off that everything's going to be fine. And some green. I'm going to make green by mixing the yellow ochre and the blue together. And I'm going to add some white to it as well, because I like the way white lightens up and really shows on this canvas. I'm going to squeeze it back in the same spot there. Pardon my reach. There we go. Grab that white. And here we have a beautiful shade of green. Another shade of blue that works quite well with color mixing and painting is ultramarine blue. It certainly has its place in art, but I love the richness of the phthalo blue. That is my personal preference and how it mixes with other colors. So I leave that entirely up to each individual person. There's also lots of different shades of green as well that are accessible in the stores that are hard to often mix, but I do enjoy the color mixing process myself personally. There we go, that's better. Now, although I did say I wasn't going to add in the alizarin crimson, I do feel like there might be a place for a little bit of pink in here. Or maybe an orangey color. Again, we'll mix the yellow ochre with some of the alizarin crimson, and that will give us a lovely orange color. And we can put that over here on this tip. But now that I've done it, I see that this is yellow and then this is orange, and the colors are a little too close to one another. So I'm going to mix it in with a bit of white and see if it pinkifies it a bit. There we go. Not sure I love that, but we'll leave it for now. Let it dry a bit and then I'll paint over it. I might switch it to the light purple, to be honest. But what I am going to do is add a little bit of the dark purple again. there and put it right at the tip of the star here. And then the nice thing when you take the tape out is the white areas, you can decorate them or dot them with a marker. You can leave it plain white if you want. You can use a silver paint pen and do some swirls on them, or with some gold depending on your color scheme. There we go. Yes, I don't love that, so I am going to change it. And what I'm going to add here is a little more of the blue. I think the blue would work very well here, but I'm not going to mix it with white because I want it to be a different shade of blue than what I already have. Nice rich phthalo blue. Just like so. I'm going to put a little more, make it darker, because I really want to show the differences in the paint. Sorry, I'm talking to myself a little bit. There we are. And now the dilemma to figure out what to do with this side, because I really just don't like that shade. I think what I'll do is mix the alizarin with some white and turn it into a nice true pink, because we don't have pink here. There we go. Much better. Yes, that will work. There we go. I do like that better. I don't want it to seem like there's two yellows beside each other, so, and because the paint's still a little bit wet, I just have to go over it a few times and really work on making it a nice pink, which I'm liking a lot more than I did with the yellow across there. And now it's not dry yet, but I am going to take the masking tape off so you can see how it looks. Normally you wait till it's dry, you decide if you need a second coat, and then you take the masking tape off, but I really want you to see how it looks. I think it's such a fun project. So here we go, the big reveal. One piece of tape. Half a piece of tape. There we are. Oh, lovely purple. Let's start down at this corner now. I have tucked the tape right under the canvas at the edges so that it doesn't come up. And I think we'll be able to take that one off with it. There we go. Oh, I do like the way that looks. This is always a fun project I like to do. And that one. That last bit, and there you have it. There is a lovely 5-point star painted out with all the different colors. And like I said, if you want, I like the look of the stark white, but if you want, you have to be consistent though and be careful. You can always decorate in between with dots of black or silver or gold, paint pens, which are readily available in the stores, to really bring it out. But I like to do that at the very end, especially if you're doing a grouping with 3, to see how they all look together. So I hope you have fun trying out this project. Thanks for joining me.